Welcome back. Glad you made it here. Hey, I want to talk about two really great transformations that happened this past year and what these older men did to get in the best shape of their life. I want to introduce you to Matt and I want to introduce you to Chad. These are two men that are in their late 40s or in their mid 50s that made a really great transformation for themselves. And they were kind of at a crossroads. They knew they wanted to make a change, but they didn't know how to make a change. And they've tried a lot of old strategies that just didn't serve them in the long term and create a sustainable result for them. So when talking about the result, when I met both Matt and Chad, they were struggling with their nutrition. One way most people do when they think about, hey, I want to drop some body fat, is they think about going on a crash diet. And that's what, one of them did. They went on a crash diet. And what ends up happening with the crash diet is you begin to, feel like you're starving. You feel like you're depriving yourself. So in the long term, it's not sustainable because you end up rebounding really hard by eating a lot more food or binge eating when it's over. The other way about it is, what Chad did. Chad went on his Google search and he Googled out, best weight loss diet. And what he thought is he needed to go on a sugar detox, and then he needed to fast, and then he needed to cut out all carbs. The challenge with doing something like that when you've been eating a certain way is what he experienced was his body rejected it. He started to feel sick. He started to feel tired, and he couldn't sustain it. So the most sustainable way that I find for my men over the age of 50 when it comes to their getting results is you need to be in a calorie deficit. And that's what they all did. All right. And then from there, to create that calorie deficit, you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit per day to lose 1 pound of fat per week. So what they did is they found their BMR, what they burn each day. And then from there, you can pick and choose what diet works best for you. Whether it be intermittent fasting, or is it 3 meals a day, is it 6 meals a day? As long as you have that calorie deficit, you're going to start dropping body fat. So what they did is they had a list of foods that I gave to them, and it had a list of proteins, it had a list of carbs, had a list of fats, and they picked and choose which proteins, which carbs, which fats worked best for them that met their basal metabolic rate, what they burned every single day. And what that allowed them to do is they felt full, they had more energy, and they were able to keep a more sustainable plan. The best part about it is, outside of keeping them full, is they didn't have those urges to want to go back and have these big splurges. The next big thing that I see, and I saw with Chad and I saw with Matt, is when people are starting out, they know they need to do some kind of exercise, all right? Studies show that you need to exercise at least 3 to 5 hours per week to make a body composition change. So what they ended up finding was they went out and, in your 20s, you can go for a run. You can do some high intensity interval training. And they did a little bit of that. But what they ended up finding is that old injuries started creeping in, because when you start adding cardiovascular training, that's hundreds of reps on your joints, your knees, your hips, your back, and it takes a lot to recover from that. So that was not a sustainable way also. So the easiest way that they got back into exercising was just incorporating more steps. And we just started out simply by getting 8,000 steps a day, and at most progressing up to 13,000 steps per day. And what that allowed them to do is expand that calorie deficit they had in the easiest way possible. Because when you're walking, you're not going to put a lot of stress on your body. It's something that you can sustain. It's something you can do every single day. Some easy ways they got walking in is they parked further away on their job site, or when they went to a grocery store, so they had to take those extra steps. When they came in for their workout, they did 10 minutes earlier. One of my clients, with the weather being bad here in the Pacific Northwest, they bought a walking desk. So when they're on making calls, they're walking. So the third thing is kind of relating to number 2, is we all know we need to work out. So what they ended up doing is taking old exercise routines from their sports days in high school and college. What they ended up finding is that their bodies didn't move the same way. There's a lot of tightness in their shoulders. There's some issues with their low back. So the best way when starting out, when you haven't exercised in years, is just start your workouts with some mobility work. And that would be 10 minutes. Starting out with stretches like your cat dog, your Superman, some dynamic warm-ups that incorporate some walking quad stretches, knees to chest. All these exercises prep their body for movement. Other exercises that work great for the upper body were wall slides and band pull aparts to start opening their shoulders up. We started incorporating that into their daily routine. It took 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, because when you wake up in the morning, it sets you up right for the day. And then 5 minutes because when your body's regenerating at night, you're putting your body in a good position there too. All right. And then when they started out with their workouts again, they just picked 4 to 6 movements, and we started with body weight movements. If you can't move your body with your own body first, and then you start incorporating free weights and machines, that's a great way to get a strain, tear, pull. So we just made it simple. We did our dynamic warm-up, and then we set the timer there for 30 to 45 minutes, and then we just work through some key movements for that day. Could be simple, a TRX row. We did some push-ups. We did some single leg RDLs. We did some body weight squats. And then we did some external rotators work for the shoulders, and then some hip adductor works for our hips to start helping out that. And then once we did that for 6 to 8 weeks, we started progressing over into some free weights. And then fast forward, these gentlemen have increased their strength. They're not getting any strain, tears, and pulls, and they have a really sustainable exercise plan. All right, moving into the next one, something that gets a lot of guys in their 50s. And what ends up happening is you go out for golf. What happens when you're going out for golf? There's some extracurricular activity. Maybe you have some business meetings that you have to go to. And those extracurricular activities is alcohol. So we set a 21-day no alcohol challenge. And what the 21-day no alcohol challenge does, and by no means am I a doctor and telling you not to have any alcohol, it's what a 21-day no alcohol challenge does for you. It helps you eliminate alcohol, which on a couple things, it slows down your metabolism, okay? When you have alcohol, it's a toxin. Your body's gonna do everything it can to eliminate it from your system, right? And what it does, it'll take the extra food and store it as fat. The other thing it'll do for you is it'll help you sleep better at night. Other thing from there, it's going to restrict the number of calories that you're consuming. So if you're having a drink, it could be 200 to 300 calories. Say you're having those 5+ drinks in a week, you can quickly see how you're erasing the benefits of your exercise and your nutrition. So it allows you to get your energy back, get better sleep, and also get some quick wins with your nutrition to create some momentum from self-motivation to see that you're making major progress. And then the other benefit from the 21-day no alcohol challenge is when you reintroduce it, you realize that you really don't need it. Or if you want it, you have some parameters in place. You have no more than 3 in a week, and you have no more than 1 to 2 in a sitting. So what that reintroduction does is realize you don't need it, but also you reduce the amount of volume that you bring in, and you realize that your days are better, your energy better, and you've employed some self-discipline. And when you employ that self-discipline muscle, it begins to flow into the extra bit of your routine. The last component, what a lot of people do, and it's in January, you see it the most, the fireworks go off. People already had their adult beverages. They're super excited. And when they're super excited, they feel invincible. So they set that New Year's resolution. They set the goal around their nutrition. They set that goal like, this is going to be the year, new me, new you. But the problem is right about March here in the Pacific Northwest, the weather starts turning really nice. And when the weather starts turning really nice out here, people start realizing that that motivation had wore off, and they don't feel invincible anymore, and that's when they reach out to a coach. One of the best things that they both had done is they got a coach. And when you get a coach, as Matt would say, is he never missed a business meeting in his whole life, but you can always find a way to miss your workout. When you create that accountability, you get your coach, you get a trainer, you can check in weekly with that coach. They'll give you a text message. They'll give you the main things you need to focus on that week. You don't need to do the 100 things that week. You only need to do 2 to 3 things and be consistent on it. And then when you follow up the next week, did you eat? Did you make progress on those? Yes, you did. You start stacking those over 10 to 12 weeks. That's where my clients start to lose 15 to 25 pounds. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you'll do that, but if you do the work like most of my clients do and follow those steps above, you're going to get some outstanding results. So there's the story of Matt and Chad. I hope you enjoyed it. Those are the strategies that they used. So if you're an older man, give these a try to get great results. If you'd like some coaching, down in the description below, you'll see a link to my calendar, and I will talk to you. This isn't about putting a plan together. This is about you and I working together to help you make the breakthrough for yourself. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day.